Welcome. It's Facts You Don't Know. If it's your first time here and you want to find out new facts that will definitely make you smarter and more, well, and first make sure to subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss anything.
Diana and her children were thrown into the street by the owner of the house she rented. With the few belongings they could collect, they walked aimlessly until they reached a poor house that was abandoned. There they settled without imagining that they would find something that would change their lives. Diana was a beautiful and successful lawyer who, when she thought she found love, she was actually digging her own grave. Her mother raised her alone because her father had died in a plane crash, and with the insurance that the company had paid for, the lady was able to support her daughter and save her a future. The mother-daughter relationship was unbeatable because Diana was completely grateful that Donna Socorro, because she was always attentive to her, was loving and understanding. Therefore, he esteemed her as the best possible friend. Although the lady had the insurance money for the plane crash, she always tried to spend as little as possible, since she made sure that she wanted it so that her daughter would enjoy it. So she worked sewing clothes at home. She was a very good dressmaker and enjoyed the esteem of many wealthy ladies. Therefore, they lived on what they earned from their occupation. Diana learned sewing with her mother, and when she had too many orders, she helped her. Of course, but she knew that the lady tried hard to give her everything she needed. Donna Socorro also made custom-made desserts, and she didn't care if she had enough sewing. She always accepted the work and delivered on time and with quality results. All that love, work, Diana learned from her mother. Therefore, her admiration for her was deep, and she promised herself to be an excellent mother like Donna Socorro. The lady could no longer see her daughter turned into a great professional because on an excursion they did together, a snake bit her, and she did not arrive in time for the antidote to be injected, since she was in quite remote region. Thus, Diana lost her mother without imagining what life had in store for her. At law school, a lecturer arrived, and Diana fell madly in love with him. He was a handsome and well-trained man. He also noticed the young woman, and they began a courtship. When she graduated, he helped her get a job in a prestigious place. Time went by, and Alonzo ended up asking Diana for marriage, and she accepted. He bore all the expenses of the wedding. They settled in the house, which belonged to Diana and her mother. There, so they began their journey towards together forming a great family. Everything seemed to be going wonderfully. Well, Alonzo, the truth is that he was a hard-working man, and there was absolutely nothing missing in that place. Within a few months, Diana was pregnant, and that event was celebrated with a special dinner at the best restaurant in town. The gestation period passed in total normality, and the moment of delivery, Alonzo was there to support Diana. The child was born practically in a golden cradle because his mother's work was also very good. However, within a few months, Diana was pregnant again, and this time they were twins. The family grew rapidly, and Diana was immensely happy. Alonzo asked her to stay home to babysit and quit work. She agreed, thinking that a good mother should give herself 100% to the care of her children. Alonzo continued to work hard so that the same standard of living could be preserved in that house as when Diana worked. Above all, when the fourth child was born. However, things suddenly began to get complicated because Alonzo, the prestigious lawyer, had to face a lawsuit from his ex-wife for fraud. The woman accused him of having deceived her of his inheritance and was asking him to pay the usurped money. The man told his wife Diana that it was all a lie, that as a result of his ex-wife's jealousy, she was trying to harm him. However, when he had the judicial sentence in court, they found him guilty, and if he did not pay all the money, he would go to jail. The truth is that Diana was very nervous and wanted to save him from disgrace and shame. So she told him about the money that her mother had saved for years, so that she could use it when she needed. He immediately told her to please give him the money to pay for it and thus avoid going to jail. She, without hesitation, obviously accepted and went to the bank and asked to withdraw all the money, and then gave it to Alonzo. And he assured her that he had already paid off the debt with his ex-wife and insisted that everything would be an injustice. With her husband now free of all commitment, Diana believed that everything was going to go smoothly. However, nothing was further from the truth than she thought, but the worst was yet to come. Alonzo told his wife that he was about to do the business of his life, but he needed money to invest in it. So he convinced her to hand over her house as collateral to the bank in exchange for a large sum of money. The loan was in Diana's name, and unfortunately, as for Alonzo, she had the money in her hands. He told her that he would go to a friend's consortium to deliver his share of the money. Sure, however, he never came back. Diana, distraught, did not know what to do, so she started looking for work again and suffered many incidents. Well, I had to pay the bank money. The salary she had the company where she worked as head of the legal department was not enough for her expenses. So 6 months after Alonzo left, things got even more complicated for Diana, because due to the lack of payment, the bank told her that she should vacate her house. Diana had to find a new place to live with her children. But nevertheless, everything collapsed when her salary was garnished, and it was very difficult for her to pay the rent on the house and feed her children. She was only able to live in that house for 3 months. Well, for not having paid in a timely manner, the owner took her out there with everything and her children. The young woman wept inconsolably, but she had no alternative but to take her children and leave that place. The poor woman did not know where she was going. She walked a long way with her children until she reached the park, where she sat them on a bench and asked them to wait for her, as she had to go back to work as if nothing was happening. At the end of her workday, she arrived at the park and found the older girl with the younger boy asleep in his arms. With a few coins she had, she was able to buy milk and bread to feed them. She took the boy in her arms and asked the others to walk. When they had already left the city, and the children, it was evident, of course, in her face, in her body, in her physical, the exhaustion. Along they saw a humble little house that looked abandoned. Its walls were of itself, but it seemed to be the perfect place to spend the night. So she opened the small wire gate at the entrance of the place and entered with the children. She knocked on the door of the little house, but no one answered. They pushed open the door and saw that it was uninhabited. There they settled with a few blankets and were able to spend the night indoors. The next day, Diana went back to work and asked the children not to leave the place. Afraid that something might happen to them, the poor woman had to go to her work, and when she returned, she could not imagine the surprise her children had for her. Throughout the day, while playing explorers, Mariana, the oldest girl, began to dig the earth, and to her surprise, she found a small box that looked like a chest, and with great enthusiasm, the children said that it was pirate's treasure. The children were unable to open the chest, so they waited with great excitement for Diana to do so. After having fed them, the little she obtained, Diana followed the pirate's treasure game, and to her surprise, when she opened the chest, she found many gold garments in it and a bearer's check for 1,000,000 sum. Diana couldn't believe that and cried with happiness. There was also a letter saying that those lands were from a wealthy landowner, and he wanted to teach her family a lesson, burying her fortune at various points, hoping that people who really needed it would find it. So the young woman went to the bank and they paid the check. In this way, her life and that of her children changed forever. And when Alonzo found out that she had money, he returned. But she sued him for fraud, and he went straight to jail. Now, friends, would they like to know your opinion of this story? Leave us your answer in the comment section so we can all read them. We wait for you in our next video. Thanks for watching. Please like and share the video in social networks. We'll be right back to you as fast as we can.